You mentioned that this is your little book. First of all, it's a little book that it's a little book that's no bigger than a man's wallet and can fit into a back pocket. Is that right?
Yeah. I'll just grab one of these copies over here. 1 second. So I'll see if I can get this. So that's
got it.
There's the size of the book.
Got the
it's literally all there. I am holding the book.
That's it. All right. So we get the idea. It's a little book, but it's a little book. It's making a big impact, and you refer to it as being a toolkit with strategies that can help save somebody's life. Can you give us the audience watching and listening to you, Stuart? Are you able to give one example of that from the book, please?
In my mind, the book has three aspects to it. One, of course, is the content of the book, and that, of course, is highly important. But the second aspect of it was the actual size of the book became a strategy, because no one wants to sit on a train or a plane with a book open that the passenger next door can see perhaps what you're reading, because it's quite personal and private.
Right.
So I knew that I had to keep the book small. Well, that was my view, is to keep it discreet and small. And then the third part was I had all of the books made sort of like to Bible. I don't know if you can see that's like a cloth linen cover. So it's sort of like Bible or the old-fashioned dictionaries. It's
right.
It's hand stitched, and you can't bend it. Right. So it's sort of like, it's almost like military type quality. So I knew that if it's going to be a toolkit, it has to last. There's no point being a flimsy paperback that 3 months later the front cover's ripped off, or it gets the first little bit of water and it deteriorates. So there was 3 intentional strategies with the book in that regard, so that it would be a toolkit that might last a person 10 years, all the rest of their life. So I don't know if that answers your question, but that was sort of where my thinking was at, that it wasn't just about the content. And when I had a publisher from New York really want the book, they were just hell-bent on putting it in bookshops as a paperback book. And as tempting as it would be to say yes to go, my first book I ever wrote was published by some mob in New York, is I knocked it back, because it's fundamental that the book stays small and discreet and hardcover. And I felt like they were going to break the mold, because the book's useless if it's in the bin.
So you're staying true to your principle then of this book being a toolkit, and so the contents of the book. So we understand now the reasoning behind it being a small book and a book that can be held and read in public with discretion. And inside, so obviously tells of your story from a personal experience, and it gives hope to and direction to somebody who's in that dark moment, right?
So on page 41, it asks you a question: what'll happen after I've ended my life? And it's just got a small section there to write some lines down, just to make you think. And then moving on from that, Mike, it's one of the next questions is, what is one thing that I do not want to happen after I die? And that could be, I don't want so-and-so to get my car, for example, or I don't want them to have my dog. So it's like, well, do you need to attend to that as part of your planning, for example, or do you need to stop and realize and go, this isn't such a good thing that I'm planning on doing?